what level of remodel you hope to take on in the future. Are you planning to make a few calculated tweaks to the house, little weekend projects one at a time? Are you planning sort of a major DIY where you will, with yourself or a team or hire a handyman to help you out, do pretty big projects multiple places around the house? Or are you planning to plan a project that you'll hand off to a contractor? So if you're going to do little tweaks, type in tweak to the chat box. If you're going to do a bigger DIY, type in DIY to the chat box. And if you're planning to carry out a remodel with a contractor team, type in contractor to the chat box. And we'll get a sense of where everybody is and where you're all going. And I'm going to try to not touch the microphone because I bet you can hear that. Yeah, contractor led for Christina. And that's great. And I think that the really important thing when you're planning a contractor led remodel is that they're doing the work, but you are still directing the goal of the project. And that is why planning and organizing what you want out of your house in advance is even more important, frankly, if you're not doing it yourself. Vance is planning a mix of DIY with some contractor work. That's exactly where I sit. I think of this as a level 2 remodel. There's some things I can't do, like electrical wiring. I can help. I don't plumb, but a lot of the work I love to do myself, and that's a really fun place to be. Anybody else want to chip in? Erin is hoping to learn a lot of new skills. Erin, I love it. Because, you know, with energy and YouTube these days, there's very little that a home remodeler can't figure out how to do, especially if you've got someone else to help you hold up the other end of heavy boards and things. So the thing I want to emphasize right here at the beginning is that the same principles of design and planning apply regardless of the scale of remodel you're planning. If you want to make sure that your remodel, the remodel that you plan and carry out yourself or with contractors, turns out to be just what you want, going through the steps of thinking it through, of gathering your resources, of being familiar with the house you have, and then taking the time to make a scaled master plan so you know what everything is going to happen before you start chopping off one task at a time. Those are the same steps that apply for every project, large or small. So I want to set you guys up for success, and I know that you can have the remodel of your dreams if you follow the calculated process. So I have given a lot of thought to this because for the last few years, I've devoted myself to working with homeowners to help them plan doable, manageable remodels. Not the kind of thing that you have to be a millionaire to take on, not a totally custom boutique thing, but something that anybody can aspire to and that you can make dramatic, beautiful design changes to your house, regardless of your budget or scale. And I started doing that because I bought a mid-century house, about 4 years ago now, and immediately went all the way down the rabbit hole. I started researching the period, learning more about the style and the history. I started an Instagram account, MidMod Midwest, where I feature houses from around the Midwest, mostly in Madison, that are in the mid-century era, and started to make great friends like with Boise Mid-Century Homes, with other mid-century fans around the internet, and connect and find homeowners who were likewise interested in the same things. And I kept researching and talking. I wrote articles for our local weekly paper on the history of Frank Lloyd Wright's influence on mid-century Madison and talked on local radio. I've given talks, well, back in the before time at the local libraries around the area about the history of mid-century Madison and how people can make manageable, DIY-able, or homeowner-led remodels to their house that really turn out the way they want. And then I started a podcast, MidMod Remodel Podcast, to help people figure out what they can do to make really manageable, wonderful changes to their home. You might know me from one of those medium, or if you just found me through an Instagram ad, then hi there. I'm Della, I'm an architect, I'm the owner of a 1952 ranch, and I'm obsessed with mid-century modern. So we've just gotten everybody to say where they are calling in from. So I'm gonna go right ahead and pop into slides again. So let's see, screen share. I want to share this screen. And then I can walk you through some more of the elements of planning a super mid-century remodel. Here's my promise to you. I want to make sure that you get the most out of your remodel. So I'm going to share today some of the key steps that I walk every one of my direct clients through when we're planning a remodel for their homes to make sure they get the most out of their project. And you can use the same steps yourself or with a little more assistance from me, or finding more assistance from other people that are great around the internet. But I believe that these steps that I'm going to talk about today are the key to planning a transformative change to your home, and that they will keep you on track even in spite of all the crazy challenges of our current time and the difficulties that any homeowner will at any time face when they're planning a home remodel. We have to acknowledge that as homeowners who want to customize our house, just exactly the way we want with just a minimal budget, not spending any extra. We're up against this behemoth home remodeling industry, HGTV, all of the products that are being marketed to us. These are all meant to just basically sell people on things that they didn't ask for and don't really need. And so, especially for us mid-century fans, a lot of the sort of make it a cute little cottage HTTP stuff is going to be percolating in the heads of the salespeople that we work with, the contractors that we might hire, and we need to be able to have a strong enough vision to push back and say, no, I want this, and I know what I want, and here's why. So we only have an hour, which is not enough to cover everything that I know and translate it all into your head. But here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you an overview of what I see as the most essential steps of the remodeling process. And I'm going to focus specifically on the things that are most often overlooked. And one way or another, you're going to leave this hour more clear and more confident about your home update than you are right now. But you'll also, if you find that you're really resonating with what I'm saying and you want to go further, at the end of the masterclass and you want to keep going, I'll share a few steps that you can take if you want to make your home remodel really come together faster. So if you want to be that action taker, then I have what you need right here. If you're with me, go ahead and shout hey in the chat window and let me know you're alive, and we'll carry right on. So I promise to you that this is not fluff. These are the steps that I share with everyone that hires me as a designer, and advise them that these are the steps they should take before they lift a hammer or shake hands with a contractor. Because it does matter. I've seen so many sad homeowners who regret some or even all of a remodel because they hopscotched over the process of really soul searching and planning and just jumped straight into making a change that was recommended by someone or that they saw in a magazine or on TV. And at the end of the process, that heartbreak, that frustration is heartbreaking. You may have had experience of planning a remodel that didn't go very well, and if so, shout it out. Here, I've actually made my chat window go away. I'm going to pop it open again so I can see if you are talking to me. And if you have questions, by the way, at any point during my patter, go ahead and type them in. If I don't get to you right away, I will catch them. As I go, I'll pause and address certain things that come up. And then at the end, I'm going to stick around for as long as anyone has questions. I'll be answering questions about design, about home remodel, about mid-century, whatever you've got. So here's the thing. If you have remodeled before and had some regrets about it, no shame. The reason this happens to you or people you know is because people aren't aware that there's an alternative. We just don't talk enough about design in this country. Obviously, as a designer, it's very important to me. But I want to help people navigate through the remodeling industry and end up with a home that is really what they want, a lovingly crafted, right-sized, just the right house that they need. So that's why I'm over here waving my arms, hollering at Instagram, trying to get everyone to call timeout and take 5 before they jump in and plan the remodel that they really want. So my goal for you today is that you will walk away from this masterclass knowing that you can plan a truly custom tailored remodel, and you can do it right now. Even in this crazy time, while everyone else is out there rushing in and making the usual mistakes, you are going to get empowered to take control of your remodel. It's going to make you feel more confident about the process. You don't have to feel confident right now. Don't worry if you're listening to this and thinking, oh, but I don't know quite what I want yet. That's okay. That's what you'll know when you're done with the process. It will come naturally, that when you have clarity about what you want before you kick off, you'll feel more directed as you go through the process. It'll also make the whole process more fun because remodeling can be stressful, but when your home update plans are really aligned with your family's needs and priorities, you will love all the parts of the remodel more, even the drywall dust, I promise. We have to acknowledge that right now, part of why you're listening to me is because things have just gotten even harder. We're in the middle of a global pandemic, which has only made planning a remodel more complicated. With all the uncertainty in your life that you generate in a regular remodel, you now also have to consider that we're kind of in an economic downturn and there's the risk of introducing a dangerous virus into your household. But I do believe that a remodel is still worth doing right now, maybe more than ever. I know you deserve to live in a home that works for you, that makes your days better, brighter, more efficient. And I know that because many of my clients are coming to me more now than ever. Listeners to my podcast are typing in comments, and my mid-mod friends on Instagram agree that this is the time to tweak their house. I mean, you've never been in it more, right? So my goal is to make that possible for you. Let's start by talking about the way that some things have changed. In a way, COVID has clarified how important our homes are to us. It's no longer possible for us to take our houses for granted the way that we could before stay home. There was a time when you might wake up in your own bed, rush around for a few minutes before heading out the door to work, drop your kids at school, stay busy outside the house all afternoon and evening, and come home just in time to watch a few episodes of Netflix and brush your teeth before going to sleep again. That's not the way we live right now. Hey, actually, for reference, type into the chat box who's working from home still at the moment and who's got kids in the house, home from day camp, school, wherever they would be in the summer. Maybe they were always going to be home in the summer. But I'd love to see, yep, working from home. Vance, yeah, it is a whole thing. I was always working from home. I've worked out of this office since I moved into this house and love it, but I have also been feeling a pinch of, no, I can't take my laptop to a coffee shop today. No, I can't go and meet in someone's house with them to talk about their project. We have to do everything via Zoom meetings. It's an added challenge. The thing is, I think that there's a slight silver lining to all of this staying at home, and that is coming from the fact that now we're focused on the house that we have. Unfortunately, you and I can't control the way our communities or our leadership is going to choose to behave right now, so we don't know how long it's going to be before all of this finally blows over and we can get back to some semblance of pre-COVID normal life outside the house. So that means that two things are true. One, we need to be prepared. It matters to have a house that feels comfortable, safe, cozy, and flexible to get you through whatever the next couple of years' changing circumstances are going to be. I've been thinking differently about the way I remodel and update my home and what I plan for it for the near future, and I bet you have too. And two, this is a powerful reminder of things that we should have known all along. Our homes are so important to the way we experience our lives. Your house, the space where you spend any time of your day, now your house is where you spend most of your day, has an effect on your worldview, your energy level, you and your family's health and happiness. And it's never been more important to house your family in a home you love that loves you back. So how can we carry on with remodeling plans in the face of COVID? I don't want anything to let you stop yourself from creating the home you need right now. In order to carry forward, you might have to adjust your plans, but still go forward. And what you can do is reprioritize, control the costs, maybe tweak the timing, and consider different methods. But the good news is you've already been doing your homework. You've started the process of planning for a home remodel, even if you hadn't known it, because you've spent time thinking about, oh, I wish I had more space. I wish I had more privacy. I wish I had more division between this and that, or a bigger open space for everyone to come together. You've experienced these things visually, possibly as frustration, hopefully as some hopefulness during the last few months. And now's the time when you can turn all of those thoughts and sort of passing feelings into a plan and action for your home. So let's go a little bit further into how we can adjust your remodeling plans. You might just find that you've naturally refocused your priorities during the last few months. And we'll come back to this later in the presentation as I'm talking about how exactly to figure out what it is that you want from your home and why that's so important. But getting the most from your home update dollars and time right now has always been about identifying and sticking to your priorities. If you are thinking about new priorities and constraints, if you're feeling that because of the economy, your family personal finances, or more that your budget is more constrained, then one of the important ways to work within your budget is to frame what work you need to take on right now. And this is where you circle back to your priorities. If you're dealing with a limited budget, you can handle that in several ways. You could choose to take on smaller tweaks in a number of places that address your whole laundry list of areas that call for your attention. Or you can choose to, if your priorities are really heavily weighted towards one or two areas of the house, you can choose to throw all of your budget at those spots right now and hit them with everything you've got, and then come back to other things later in time. Because you've cut something off of your right now to-do list doesn't mean you have to give up on it. You can also tweak the timing, tackle a few key things right now, and bank the rest for this winter, next summer, or your 5-year plan. This is also something that I've always encouraged planning homeowners like myself to think about. Breaking a project up into phases is a key tool to making sure that you get the most out of a well-budgeted remodel. Now, it's true that it is sometimes most overall cost-effective to do everything at once. But the reality is if you don't have the budget, or if you don't even have the energy, if you're DIYing it, you can't tear the whole house to the studs and do it at once while you live in it and have a day job. So breaking a project up into planned phases is important, but the most important thing when you do that is to have a vision for the whole project so you don't lose sight of what's coming next and end up doing work that you later have to undo. And finally, a way to adjust for our changing times is to come back and reevaluate the method. So I already asked you what you have in mind right now. Are you planning a DIY tweak, a full DIY remodel, or to hire it out? And if you run up against a wall of budget or plausibility in this time of COVID, one thing you can do to make sure that you still get some tweaks to your house, that you still fit the house to your life, is to come down one level. If you were planning a contractor-led remodel, you might choose to step it back and take on a partially DIY or more handyman level project by project remodel right now. Or if you were planning a bigger DIY remodel, but you are crunched on time or dollars, don't give up on your whole dream. Scale them down for now and think about what kind of mini tweaks you can take on so you still get a sense of satisfaction and progress about changing up your house. I want to start you off with some clarity. We'll get right down to it. And this is what I think that the biggest mistake that nearly everybody makes when they remodel. And I don't want you to be one of this crowd because it only makes your life harder. People plan their remodels out of order. They focus on the little details first. They have so much fun on Pinterest and they forget to think about what was really driving their remodel. And this is where I think that in many ways COVID has helped us clarify what we really want to need out of the remodel. Because if you take your remodel out of order, you end up stressing yourself out. You haven't set a proper foundation for why you choose anything, and so each choice becomes harder. Even in this crazy time, the tried and true process can get you where you need to go. I want to make sure that you understand that planning the remodel in an order is just as important as executing it. You need to build a house in specific order. You put up structure first, hang drywall on it, then paint, finally install the decorative fixtures and furniture. I mean, you don't have to do it that way. You can pile furniture in the middle of a work site, hide it under a tarp while you work, but no professional would do it that way, and I don't think it would go very well. Just the same way, you need to plan your remodel in a logical order. So I want you to make sure that you do yourself a favor. Start from the beginning. Take each step in order. And if you do, the whole process will be more fun, relaxing, and satisfying. I promise. So what is the first step? You've already been doing it. You need to think about what you want your home to feel like, what it and your family need. And take a look at other similar homes that have needed these things before and learn from their mistakes and their successes before you set the wheels in motion. We'll come back to this in a minute, but here at the kickoff or the restart of this presentation, I want you to ask yourself some serious questions. Ask yourself, what does your home really mean to you? Is the house helping you live your life or making each day just a little harder? What do you need to change about your house, and what would you just like to change? Above all, keep asking that existential why. Fundamentally, why are you doing this? Why would you take on the disruption and expense of a remodel? I know that there's a good reason for it, and so what you have to do is remind yourself of that. Again, all the time you've been spending cooped up at home highlights both the paramount importance of having a house you love and has helped kickstart the process, maybe without you even realizing it. Since you spent the last few months simmering on the ideas of what your house needs, you know that this work will be worth it. Think about the lifespan of your home remodel and how much time you spend in your house every day. Isn't a little time planning worth it? You sleep there, wake up there, and spend most of every day being affected by the space around you. So I want to encourage you to take it on. And if you're doubting that this can be managed, I want to tell you that you can do it. Whether you think that all of this sounds like a lot and you'd rather just go de-stress and play with Pinterest, I mean, that's fine. I do that too. But that's not planning your remodel. And I also don't want you to get discouraged when you go on Instagram, which I love to do, and spend so much time looking at all the beautiful homes that other people have finished. Know that they also had uncertainty, that they made mistakes, and that they looked for expert help when they made their changes. So you don't have to be instantly inspired with how you'll turn your house into theirs. Doing the work will be worth it. So I want to take just a moment to introduce myself a little more and talk about my own home process. As anyone who follows me on Instagram knows, my home is very much still a work in progress, but it's also a project that I'm so happy with and really confident about. I'm on a planned trajectory, which has just been adjusted for COVID, and I know that I'm working at the right level for myself. So this is a before and after picture of my house. On the day that I purchased it, misty, moisty morning, about 4 years ago, and recently earlier this spring. And I've done a lot to the house. This is only looking at the exterior, but you can see I immediately tackled the peeling lead paint toothpaste green. Got rid of that, updated the door in my favorite front door color of orange, Nodbox mailbox, switched out the lights, and I built a fence to create a sense of sort of place and marking of my entryway. And I also enclosed the old breezeway, which wasn't working very well, and turned it into a mudroom and attached the garage with it. So those are just a few things that I've tackled in the early phases. Actually, I just put the fence in earlier last winter. House numbers went up this spring. So it's always a work in progress when you are doing a sort of mid-level DIY remodel. Here's the thing. I have actually felt pretty lost at certain early points in my own remodel. I had to remind myself of the things that I'm going to teach you today, because while they're easy for me to say, they are less easy to do, even for me. I thought I would have a really easy time updating my ranch, because when I bought it, I'd already been working in high-end residential design for a decade. And I expected that I would be able to use the same methodology to help myself that I had to use the sort of boutique, really high-end residential homeowners that I had been working with before. But those skills, that detail level management, planning every detail down to the signed contracted AutoCAD detail before construction, was more geared towards a high-end GC level construction process. And it didn't translate to planning a DIY on a moderate budget as well as I assumed it would. Once I started working in my own ranch, I also started working for other people who own homes like mine and wanted to take on more modest mid-century, mid-level remodels, a few tweaks to match their mid-century home to their modern life. And I realized that I was seeing the same overwhelm in my clients that I felt myself. So I started to rethink my philosophy and try to tailor it more for people just like you and me who are trying to get the most out of a budget remodel. After 3 years of working on my own project and devoting my design business to helping other people solve the same problems, I can safely say that I know where most mid-level remodels go off the rails, and it happens right at the beginning. Watching my new clients experience the same challenges that I had has really driven home for me how often people are tempted to skip the essential first phase of a good remodel, and how much this then increases their stress, their likelihood of going over budget, and makes them less satisfied with final results. You don't want to experience remodeler's remorse, and my goal has always been to help my clients avoid this feeling. But my work was still focused on helping people one at a time with their design issues. If my clients had trouble defining their goals and understanding their why, I would try to patch that together with a fix along the way. And it was only after about a year in that I realized we needed to stop and go back to the beginning of the process and address their why first. Only you can determine what really defines an ideal home for you and your family. I can't do that for you as a designer. So over time, I learned how to help my clients better, and I saw that I had a better way to help everyone focus if I could highlight the importance of starting your remodel right with design in the beginning. By sharing these ideas, I realized that I could help, oops, I'm going too far ahead, come back. I realized that I could help people break the cycle of starting a project without a plan and then having to put out fires. I could help people clarify what their home needs before a remodel gets drummed up, which helps eliminate nasty budget-busting surprises. And I could underline the universal design issues of ranches, which is why I came up with the concept of the remodel roadmap, which you got in your inbox before this class. And it's why I created the Ready to Remodel course that I'll talk about at the end. And it's why I give masterclasses like this one, where I'm talking to you right now. Even now during a pandemic, I still believe that you can carry out and plan the remodel that you want and need. Even it will take a little extra focus to get the job done. So speaking of focus, now it's really time to dig in. I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you really fast now, and I want to make sure that you get as much as possible out of it. So I may err on the side of too much. If you're trying to take notes and you can't keep up, feel free to take screen grabs of the slides as they go. I have a slide for very nearly every concept. And also, after we're done with this, I'm making a recording of this webinar, and I will put that up on my website. It'll be available for the next couple of days. I'll email you a link to where you can find that if you want to rewatch it with a partner or a family member who would be helping you with your remodel process and wants to be involved in this, or if you just want to look at it again yourself. Again, if you missed something, you want to be in the loop, feel free to reach back out to me and ask any questions that you have. All right, when you signed up for this class, I sent you a PDF of the remodeling roadmap. If you've got it right in front of you right now, that's great. If not, that's fine. We're going to walk through it together. You can go through the remodel of your dreams step by step at whatever scale feels right to you. You know that you're going to get the right energy back out of your remodel if you follow the roadmap. So To quickly review, in case you haven't had a chance to read through that whole PDF, which I know is a bit of a chunk, the first step is to figure out, are you even ready to take on a remodel right now? Really assess your own state of mind and your confidence level. The next one, I can't help you with too much, is to clear the deck, which means to banish clutter from your life so that the remodel that you plan will be to make spaces for the things you want to do with your day, not just to hold extra stuff that you don't use. The third step is to prioritize and figure out what you really need from your update and what you want as well. The fourth step is to become the expert in the house that you have right now, because when you feel the most confident about your house, then you can make confident decisions as you interact with contractors and other professionals, even designers like myself, throughout the process. And the fifth ties in with that, which is to get familiar with the local rules, the building code, the zoning code, so that you don't plan a wonderful big idea and then find out that you can't, or that you have to apply for a variance. That kind of thing can really slow down or ruin the budget of a project. Then, this is for mid-century homeowners specifically, you can hopscotch over a lot of the common problems with mid-century houses because there are 15 million of them out there. People have solved these problems before you. So stand on the shoulders of the giants who came before you and figure out how to work around the problems they've already solved. 7 is what people generally think of as step 1 in planning a remodel. Get on Pinterest, go to the magazines, tear out the ideas you love and collect them together. Organizing them is really important, and that's also something I'll talk about a little later. And then 8 is to put together a master plan. So you've got a giant wish list of everything you want to do, and you start to figure out what order it's going to come in. And then 9, once you know everything you want to do, you start to look realistically at your budget and figure out how much can you put into each of these steps? How far do you want to go down the rabbit hole in each area of the house that you plan to touch? And then you coordinate and carry out the work at your own pace in your own way. Now, all of these are fairly self-explanatory when you think about them, but a few of them are more commonly overlooked than others. So I want to focus for a moment on these 3 steps: really figuring out what you want and need, becoming the expert in your own home, and learning the mid-century secrets that other people have done before you so that you can avoid common mistakes. So we'll talk about these for the rest of our masterclass today. I think of them as the 3 secrets to planning a mid-century remodel that really works. The only way to be sure that you're going to love your remodel is to plan the whole thing around what you really want and need. But know that one size does not fit all, and your home, the house you have right now, or Erin, the house you're planning to find and buy, will have unique conditions and qualities. So if you know where you're starting from before you plan your remodel, you can make the most of those. And remember that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, because your mid-century house does share a lot of common characteristics, both good and bad, with other houses built in the same place or era. So you can learn from their successes and failures to make your own plan easier. Here's how we're going to spend the rest of our talk. We're going to talk about getting to know yourself and what you want. We're going to talk about getting to know your home, and we're going to talk about getting to know mid-century ranches. Then I will talk about how you can take some next steps if you want to keep going in the process right now. And finally, I'll stick around to the end to answer your questions, anything you might have about the talk, about remodel planning, or your own home. Sound good? All right, so step 1, get empowered. Know yourself. Oh, sorry, little joke. Nerd joke here, forgive my Greek. Remodeling should not be all Greek to us, but the point is that this concept of know thyself has been around literally forever, not because it's an easy thing to do, but because it's hard. You need to take this essential step at the beginning of your remodel if you want to like the outcome, though. This seems almost too obvious, but your remodel and how much you love it will be driven not by the dollars that you put into it, but by the time and care that you invest in making sure that you are planning the one that is just what you need. So we'll see if Vance disagrees, I don't think you should plan your remodel for resale value or to match some ideal on TV or Instagram or in a magazine. Those things can be important. They can affect your choices, but you're planning a house for you to live in. I hope it's your forever home. So I want you to make sure that you plan a remodel with yourself and your family in mind. This has always been true, but it's even more relevant right now that you are planning a home that will be everything to you: home, school, work, recreational space, day camp, and more. The key to really having satisfaction in your remodel is to make it for yourself. And this will change everything about the process of carrying it out and doing it. When you realize you're planning for yourself, You free yourself up to make personal choices that are fun. You can choose a tile color that sings in your soul, even if everyone else thinks it's weird. You can go nuts with wallpaper. You can invest in the area that's most important to you. Maybe it's the kitchen, maybe it's your wood shop. It's up to you. You can make decisions more quickly and easily when all you have to ask is if you like it. You don't have to decide whether it's in good taste or what Martha Stewart would do. You can plan the house for yourself, and then you can use your gut to make decisions about this one or that one when you know it's for you. And you can tailor it and focus your budget on the things that are going to make the biggest difference to your life. Again, kitchen, wood shop, garden, you decide what is the thing that's going to make you really love your house. When you are more focused on planning the remodel, you are not focused on planning the remodel you're supposed to have, but planning the remodel that will be for you, you can really put the project into overdrive. Keeping up with the Joneses has always been a thing, but I feel like the last couple of years, maybe the last 2 decades, has really taken it over the edge with the advent of modern social media sharing. It's way too easy to look at gorgeous homes in magazines, bright shiny photos on Instagram, and the airbrushed remodels on HGTV. They are not realistic. And feel like everyone else has it figured out. And since they do obviously know better than you, you should just copy what they're doing. You need that faucet or that picture frame or that brand of paint. But I'm here to tell you that you don't. And only you know what will really matter to you in the end. So the best way to control costs, especially right now, is to make sure that you are perfectly tailoring this house to match your wants and needs. It's time to ask yourself what you and your family need from your home. You've had these ideas rolling around in your head for months now, so all you need to do to make the most of this step is to grab onto all those free-floating wishes, wants, anxieties, and could-bes and turn them into a list of priorities for your remodel. Just a moment, I just lost my place in my notes. Not helpful. Not helpful, self. I meant to key through the slideshow for you, and instead I lost my thread. All right, got it. Okay, so the thing is, this will also help you predict your budget and avoid unpleasant surprises. There is a secret, and that comes from not just getting to know yourself, but getting to know the house that you live in right now. You want to be the expert on your own home. And fortunately, you've been spending a lot of time there lately, so this step is also going to be easier than it might have been a few months ago. It's still super important though. So many people plan out their ideal remodel filled with goal-oriented Pinterest boards full of Atomic Ranch and Dwell magazine featured houses, only to run into a wall when they realize that their roof needs replacing or their furnace is 2 years from kaput, and there goes the master bath budget. But here's the thing. As a designer, I am trained to see problems as challenges and challenges as opportunities. So just to pick that example, what if your roof needs replacing? Well, if you have to pay to replace the roof, that lowers the opportunity cost of making a small addition, which would often mean you have to mess with the roof at the same time. So that might actually help you incorporate the budget for a small addition, a new project room or master bedroom or play space for the house. Even if the news turns out to just be universally not great, getting it in advance from an unbiased source before you hear it from someone who's going to charge you money to solve the problem is an advantage to you. And I know you're probably thinking that you're not a home expert. Vance possibly accepted. It's fun that I got to say hi to everybody before the webinar got going. You don't have to be an expert electrician or a structural engineer. I'm not trying to make you an expert in the building code. All you have to do is have a passing understanding. It's a little like learning a foreign language when you go traveling, which we used to do in the before times. You don't have to learn everything in order to read literature in the language. If you can just learn enough of the language to ask for directions, order a meal of your preference, and politely greet a stranger, you'll find that the whole trip goes better. And that's what I want for you planning remodel. I want you to be passingly conversant with your house so that you don't get unpleasant surprises when someone says, you have a house type of this structure and that means everything costs double. I want you to know what things are going to happen in advance. So I'm not assigning you to become a master plumber. I just want you to feel prepared. By getting the most out of your prep, you can get out ahead of common home maintenance, building code, and other technical issues that'll crop up during the remodel, and then you won't have to put out emotional or budget fires the first time you talk to a contractor for an estimate. And here's the good news. You're not on your own here because there are so many friendly and competent advisors you can reach out to. Myself, city employees, home inspectors, the realtor who sold you your house, maybe an experienced family member. You can find all of these people. You can call in experts as hired guns. A competent home inspector is an invaluable ally in this process. And you know that he or she is working for you, not on commission. So if you have a house with specific issues, like there's water in the basement, or you know now there's faulty wiring, do call in a plumber or an electrician, but ask them for a consultation at first, not a bid. You can also reach out to friends and loved ones. Even as an architect, when I have a maintenance question about my house, I tend to call my dad. On the other hand, my sister, who's very unhome handy and a doctor, she calls me when she has questions about her apartment. If I have questions about my health, I call her. Here's the thing, this really, really, really is important. I don't want you to get pushed around. Because the most common failure mode in a typical remodel is for the homeowner, you, to end up getting pushed around by the contractor, the supplier, or even a designer with a big personality and a preference to do it the way they usually do, rather than listen to your needs. And I don't say this because I think everyone that you ask for a bid is an unscrupulous huckster out to trick you. Quite the opposite. Most contractors are great people who just like to make houses work. But they both have a vested interest and perspective on every project that's different from yours. They want to do it the way they're comfortable with. They want to do it the way their team has done it before. They want to do it the way that's the most friendly to their budget. And that's not necessarily even wrong, but I want you to be able to choose whether you acknowledge their point of view or you say, no, I still want to pay a little more, or I would like to do it this alternate way that costs no more. I know that I want to do this and I'm confident enough to say so. So the thing is, knowledge is power, and I want you to feel confident about your home from start to finish. Even if you don't have all the answers, a strong baseline will help you call timeout when you need to go phone a friend rather than being rushed into a decision on someone else's timetable. By getting a handle on what's going on in your home's basement, attic, or mechanical systems before you kick off your project, you'll be able to take the lead and make decisions from a place of confidence. Also remember, you are not alone. And I mean that so sincerely because there are so many mid-century ranches out there. Some experts have estimated that there are 15 million that were built in the US between 1945 and 1965. There is no need to reinvent the wheel when you run into a knotty design problem or a knotty pine siding problem. Think about it. The mid-century home has qualities that are popular all over again, as well as some classic ideas that have never gone out of style. You can't turn a mid-century ranch into a Victorian cottage, but you can make it the most stylish home on the block with just a few clever tweaks. The key is to play to your home's strengths, and to know what its weaknesses are going to be. Now, I'm no preservationist. I don't think we need to live in museums and keep every detail of an original mid-century house, but I also think we should work with the style of the houses that we have. If you don't love mid-century style homes, why are you listening to me right now? If you do, you're in luck. I want to congratulate you on picking a style of house that aligns so closely with modern life. I mean it. You don't have to do very much to bring a house from kind of tired and looking its age to the very peak of retro modern vogue. Your life will go better though if you stick to the mid-century period. Just please don't try and turn a mid-century house into a cottage. When you're working with your home style, you can feel confident to defend it against all comers. So don't let a kitchen designer or a big box store employee or your own contractor push you into changing your home's essential character, tearing out original trim and replacing it with something more detailed, for example. When you know what you're dealing with, you can keep and improve the good things, and you can still feel confident about making changes that you want to fit the house to your own life. Before you start banging your head against the walls, look around for someone else who had the same problem that you have. Too small bathroom, an awkward shaped kitchen. I guarantee there's someone else, possibly someone else in your neighborhood who's already encountered and solved this problem. You can see what they did and you can judge whether you'd like to do it the same way or differently. Because there are a few key features around a mid-century house that don't align perfectly with modern life. For example, I'd like to pick on the kitchen. This is a really easy one to go for because a kitchen of the mid-century was designed to work for just one person, mom. My own kitchen connects directly through this door that just fell open to this smallest bedroom, which was the nursery bedroom, so that the lady of the house could keep an eye on the stock pot and a cradle at the same time. For me, that door is a nuisance that cuts down on the amount of usable storage space I have in my kitchen. That kitchen has a door to the mudroom, a door to the living room, a door to the basement, and this door to the bedroom. That is a lot of space devoted to circulation. We need to adjust not just the surfaces of a mid-century kitchen, but also the layout, because the way we use kitchens has really changed over time. There have been substantial changes to who's using a kitchen today and how long we spend in it. Kitchen has gone from command center to social center. We do work, we manage our homework in kitchens, we hang out there, we grab snacks, we watch TV, we use the internet, we socialize, and when we have a party in the before times, and hopefully in the future, everyone is in the kitchen. So let's take a look at the way kitchens might need to change. Nearly all of the work surfaces in a classic mid-century kitchen will face a wall. And the modern craze for kitchen islands isn't just a fad, it's function. Working at an island or a peninsula means that you can stand at the counter and do something without turning your back on the room and everyone else in it. Two people can cook and chat, or one person can make a meal while someone else hangs out with them in the same space. Here's an example of an original ranch eat-in kitchen. Let's see, there you go. This actually happens to be the layout of my grandparents' 1953 ranch. It was actually fairly modern and somewhat closely aligned with what we would think about, but it could be improved on. Within the same footprint, you could flip a few things around and totally open the space to the adjacent living area and transition to a modern kitchen, island-based kitchen. In general, when I think about modernizing a mid-century kitchen, I shift away from the idea of base cabinets with wall cabinets above each one. I think a lot of wall cabinets can enclose a small room, making a small space feel smaller, particularly if you have a mid-century galley kitchen. By focusing more on an island and a peninsula as a workspace, or even just base cabinets with open shelves on the walls above them, you get more open area. Then you make up the difference by concentrating all of your storage in one full height area of pantry shelving. Bonus credit if you can embed the refrigerator in that storage wall so that it doesn't loom into the rest of the room. That's not to say I want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some mid-century kitchens should be kept exactly as they are because they are just too cute. But believe me, I am getting rid of that door to the nursery bedroom in my kitchen when I tackle it. So, how can you use the materials and ideas of mid-century design without feeling beholden to any specific detail in your house that isn't working for you? You can still carry on so many of the ideas from mid-mod design. A mid-century kitchen is made of practical, relatively inexpensive materials like Formica, solid surface counters, and simple wood-fronted cabinets. They are as beautiful today as they were when they were originally built. Bright colored accent walls and lots of natural light, that's the recipe for a good kitchen update. So where does this leave us? How much you love your remodel is driven by the amount of planning and the quality of planning that you put into it. And this is even more true right now when we are feeling the extra pinch of necessity as we and our whole families spend so much time in the house, and the complexities of planning a remodel in a pandemic have gone up a notch. You can thread this needle though as long as you have a solid plan in place and you follow the steps of the roadmap. Planning doesn't have to take over your whole life right now. I know you've got a lot on your plate. I do too. In fact, I can't remember when I've ever been busier. But I promise that if you take your remodel planning in the right order, it will be easier. If you start at the beginning by figuring out what really matters most to you, you can come up with a house you love and not pull out all your hair while you do it. The trick is, as I said at the top, to go in the right order and not get ahead of yourself. So let's review. I'm going to run through all the steps again really quickly. And remember, you've got this in your inbox, maybe right beside you right now on the computer screen. But actually, just a moment. Before we start this list again, I want to hold your hand through the computer screen and check one step off your list, because now I think you know that you are ready. Being ready for a remodel has very little to do with your budget, free time, or what's going on with you at work or while you work from home right now. Those are important parts of your life, but I think we can now frame the question differently. If you need a remodel for your house, if you know it would benefit you over time, if it would make your days happier and more efficient, help your family get along better, if it would bring you joy, then you are ready to take on a remodel. And the other questions that people consider, budget, free time, etc., those still matter, but those help you frame the scale and the priorities of your model, not whether or not you should do it. So now we've got ourselves just a 9-step list. You've figured out that you're ready for a remodel, so you have to clear the deck and banish the clutter from your life. I can't help you very much with that one, but I promise that you will enjoy the process once it's done, if not during. And then you'll do some of the things we've talked about today. Determine what you really want and need from your remodel. Become the expert in your own home so that you can lead the project with confidence, get smart about the building and zoning codes for your area, and hopscotch over the common mid-century problems. Then you get to the real fun stuff, gathering your ideas and inspiration and keeping them organized in a way that works for you, whether that be all in a notebook or entirely in your smartphone. From there, you can pull together your master plan and your giant wish list of everything that can happen and figure out your scale, whether it's happening all at once in phases and is large, small, DIY, or hired out. You can coordinate and carry out the work at your own pace and in your own way. So who's resonating with this? Come back to me and type into the chat window which of these steps seems the most important to you right now. What surprised you or really resonated with you out of this this list of 10 things? I'd love to get a little bit of feedback from you here. I'm going to give myself a moment to take a drink of water because, Erin, I'm so glad you're excited about it all. You are at such a great place at the beginning of your finding a house and remodeling process. Really, I love the idea of starting from scratch. How long it takes to get to Pinterest, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, Denise, it does. It takes a long time to get to Pinterest, but the secret is you can still look at Pinterest the whole time if you want to. And Vance, I know you have been inside so many mid-century homes, so no one knows more than you how many of these features repeat themselves. And so you can find someone who's done it better than you or who thought of something you hadn't and just say, oh, I'll do it that way. Or, you know what? I like what they did, but I can do one better. There are so many things that when you take your remodel process in order, you save yourself time, trouble, headaches, and dollars. So I just keep trying to encourage people to remember all of these steps, even though they take time, save you time. And when you really want to save time is during the construction process. That's when slowdowns can be expensive and so agonizing. When you're still in the planning phases, taking more time is just taking more fun. So I'll ask you why you showed up today. Maybe you've been waiting for the right moment to get started. Maybe you've been letting yourself get overwhelmed by all that time spent on Pinterest in the planning phase of your remodel. And maybe you're already in the middle of some changes or in the middle of planning and feeling completely chaotic. This is me inviting you to jump in and get started. I love research. Nothing pleases me more. But there comes a time when you need to stop dreaming and start doing. And the best way that I know to shift yourself out of research mode is to start this planning process. So you get to pause and ask yourself, what do you want your home to be? And what do you need to make that happen? You want a proven system. You want to make sure that your remodel is going to go on the right track. And you want something that works and doesn't take up all of your time. So let's think for a minute about the future. Step with me on a little journey. Let's look out a few days from now. And at the end of this week, you could be committed to kicking off the home remodel plans that you've been wishing for this entire quarantine. If you make the decision today, you're already starting to shift your mindset a few days from now. A few weeks from now, you've taken the time to really start crystallizing some of these steps, checking more of them off your list. And all of the thinking that you've done over the last few months can focus into a goal for your home and an idea of what's really necessary. You get the ball rolling with coordination and the planning that you need. And a few months from now, you'll have gotten inspired to take out of your inertia and break out a few little projects already around the house. And you can start to be sure about what your next steps are going to be and looking forward to making the most of your home. So that person a few months from now who's excited to make real changes is who I hope I'm talking to today. My goal is to make sure that you're fully equipped to start that process and to make the changes. So if you're ready, if that's you and you're ready to start making those changes, then I'd like to invite you, oops, and I just skip forward to the modern problems. All right, if you are feeling ready to go through all those things, then I want to invite you to a course that I've put together called Ready to Remodel. You've got the roadmap in hand, and so you know where you want to go. But if you feel like you need more guidance, and many people do, which is why I ended up putting this course together, I'd like to invite you to join the Ready to Remodel program, which I designed specifically to help homeowners like you go through the steps of the roadmap, to help you plan a remodel that works for you from start to finish. Let me walk you through exactly what it is. Ready to Remodel is a 3-week online course that is self-directed, but with a lot of feedback from me. It's a step-by-step guide that will help you accomplish defining what you want your remodel to really do for you and how it will change the character of your home and how it functions through a series of simple steps and exercises. You'll get to know your house inside and out better than you do right now by going through some clear projects that will take you through the types of knowledge that you need to gain around your house. And you'll learn the classic issues of mid-century homes, how to hopscotch those problems, just as we've discussed today. Plus, there's a bonus module. I think that you can actually spend 1 week and go through each of those first 3 modules. If not complete them, at least set your feet on the path with the time frame of the course. But you aren't then going to come up with all of the other great design features, complete the whole roadmap to remodel in a week. So the bonus module is meant to give you time to pull together those things, but still with advice on how to organize your ideas, how to collect and deal with contractor contacts, and how to prioritize what you want to do and how to organize the scale of your remodel. The course is going to begin on Friday, July 3rd. So the registration will only be open until Friday at 5 p.m. Central Time. When it kicks off, we'll go through it week by week, and I'll get your model on track with you. So each week I'll open a new module with video, slide lecture, and workbook components. And then at the end of the week, I'll check back with you on a live Facebook Q&A so that if you have questions about the process or about your home specifically, we can work through those together. I promise that this remodel wouldn't have to take over your whole life. So if you can't follow along in real time, if you fall off a track, that's okay. You can jump back in and play catch up at any time. But I hope that you will come through the course with me in real time. Let's walk through those components just a little bit more. In the first week module, we'll go through your project goals. And I've prepared a number of fun and lightweight exercises to help you and your partner, perhaps, suss out what's going on in your home and why you might want it to change, what a home for you and your family really needs. And we'll pull together everything you've been thinking and feeling during stay home to get at the house you wish you had. In the second module, we'll explore your house, and I promise there are more things you can learn about it. I'll help you pull together a packet of information that I think every homeowner should have handy to facilitate a remodel planning process. How to figure out your zoning and building code requirements, how to ask the right experts to find out more. And I will strongly recommend that you get a home inspection if you don't have a current one, or take a second to look through your report with me if you've got one. If you still need one, I think you can even find right now a home inspector who wears a mask and get this done safely. We'll talk about calling in extra experts if necessary to consider energy efficiency, alternative energy, plumbing, electrical, landscaping improvements, and more. And for fun, I'll share my tips on how to find out more about your home's history and how it fits into the mid-century pattern of your area. Then in the third week module, I'll share a series of simple area-based overviews which call out the common issues that you find in the mid-century home and how they can be addressed. We'll talk turkey about kitchens, but also how to distinguish between your front entry and your garage mudroom entry, how that's changed over the decades, how to tune up your front door, improve connections between the inside and outside, and where to find secret square footage in your home. It might be the basement if you're in the Midwest. And then you'll have access right from the start to the bonus modules, where I'll walk you through deciding if your home is going to be happening all at once or in phases, how to stay organized with paper-based and digital planning systems, and how to set up a scope and reach out to contractors for bids you can compare. I will share with you my suite of project management spreadsheets that I use to manage my clients and my own remodel process. So you can set up scopes of work, keep track of contractor contacts, and compare apples to apples with ease. And throughout the course, I'll be joining you in the Facebook community, and you'll have access to each other, to a community of other people who are planning a home remodel at the same time that you are. And I think people really find it valuable to be in that sense of community with each other as they go through the process. Every week I'll be there with a live Q&A video, plus checking in regularly for your questions and comments as we go through the course together. So I could charge an arm and a leg for this if I billed at my hourly rate, but frankly, I'd rather be spending my time on design remodel solutions for you and other people with the information that homeowners like yourself pull together with this course. And I also know that we're all feeling the pinch of, sorry, I'm messing up my slides again, we're all feeling the pinch of crazy times. So I charge for this course just $347, which is about half the price of a mid-range dishwasher. I think you'll find that it's a worthwhile investment in your peace of mind during the remodel and the final result that you get when you plan an entire remodel around your own wants and needs. If this sounds interesting to you right now, you can go sign up for the course right now. Just go to midmod-midwest.com/offer to go see the sales page for it. And I'll type it into the chat box here. www.midmod-midwest.com/offer. somebody could let me know if that link works, that would be amazing. What you'll do, if you get there, midmod-midwest.com/offer, you'll scroll through the sales page, which tells you the things we've just been talking about here until you get to the registration. You can click on any of the orange buttons. There are several, and they'll take you to a place where you can put in your information, pay your fee, and get on your way. The class will kick off on Friday. So let's just remember while you're here. Let's see. Denise doesn't see it yet. I'm going to type it in one more time. www.midmod. It should be here in the chat window. -midwest.com/offer. You can copy and paste that link into your browser, or you can just type it right in yourself. COVID probably has you feeling more scattered, unstuck, and overwhelmed by the idea of a remodel than even a normal homeowner would in normal times. And I want to remind you that what we're here doing is not rocket science. You can frankly take everything I've told you today and the Road to Remodel workbook and proceed on your own. And if so, more power to you. I encourage you to keep going with this process by any medium. But if you want more help, if you want to commit to making a change right now, then I've got an offer here for you to help you go through the process. In a few minutes, I'm going to be out of time and out of breath, frankly, talking about all these essential steps for kicking off a good remodel. So I'm going to open up the floor now. If you have comments about your house, about the presentation, questions about mid-century design, or what you're planning to do with your home, please go ahead and pop them into the chat window. I'll just riff for a few more moments while I give our technology time to catch up if you're typing things right now. And I just want to remind you why this matters, because I've given you all the information you need. You have a system to go forward with. Sometimes you need more than that. You need a little hand-holding, and that's why I created the Ready to Remodel course, because I believe that these steps, this system, is the best and most efficient way to help homeowners just like you set up a remodel that will truly satisfy you. I can't physically be there with you, especially right now, but I can metaphorically hold your hand and walk you through the steps that I see are absolutely essential to planning a good remodel. But I really wish I could just jump in between every homeowner planning a remodel and their first step and say, wait, have you thought this through? Have you planned it right? I know you can have a better remodel if you do. Without this phase, your chance of loving a remodel is just that, a chance, a shot in the dark. But with it, you know you're setting yourself up for success. So, contractors are intimidating to Denise. It will. And I think what's more than that, what's more than helping you deal with contractors is if you know the basics of your house and you're confident about what you want, you can communicate more clearly. I also talk in the course about how to select contractors, how to find a contractor who's speaking your language. It is important, if at all possible, to find someone who's on board with the idea of mid-century design, and even better, to find someone who you can relate to, who communicates well, who's clear and upfront with you. I think it's important to talk to several contractors, and comparison bids are a wonderful way to choose a builder. But if the lowest bidder is someone who brushes off your concerns, seems brusque, doesn't respond clearly, that's not the kind of person that you want to be stuck in a pinch with when you're in the middle of everything being demolished in your house. So I definitely feel like going through the process of planning is important to feel like you can talk to any contractor with more confidence. But I also talk in the course about how to find a contractor who really is going to feel like a friend and a companion in this journey with you, rather than someone that you have to be holding your spine stiff with the whole time. How about anybody else have questions about planning a remodel, mid-century homes, why they're so great? They're so great. They are generally just the right size for a modern family, needing only tiny additions or just rearranging the space inside. They are so ubiquitous. They're just a wonderful thing. Erin, I know you're going to be in the process of looking for one. I wish you the best in your process. And to everybody else, I'll hang out for just a few more moments, but I want to make sure we don't take up too much of your Monday morning. So it's very nearly 11, and I'm probably going to sign off here. If I don't see anything else pop into the chat window. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today. It's really been fun. And oh, you're welcome, Christina. I hope that you all feel much more prepared to plan and organize a remodel, taking the time to go